His name literally means blessings from God, but in his new book, he writes, church hurt is the worst hurt. New York Times bestselling author Lecrae's new book is called I Am Restored, How I Lost My Religion but Found My Faith. Lecrae is also a Grammy Award-winning platinum-selling artist who plays to sold-out audiences in stadiums all over the world, sharing the message of Jesus with millions. But it is the pain and trauma that he experienced in his own life that hit him head-on just a few years ago and caused him to stop everything to search for healing. Lecrae, thank you for joining us again on Context.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, I often quote your first book, Unashamed. You said in your book that you attend a funeral every day and it's a funeral to yourself, dying to yourself every day. And I love that line because it speaks volumes. In this book, you talk about being sexually abused before the age of 10, being picked on by your uncles, being called too soft, all while looking for affirmation from your absent father. What was that like, and how do you survive that? How do you think you survived that?
Oh man. Honestly, I I don't know. I mean, you suppress a lot of things. You wear a lot of wounds. For me, I think the arts were an outlet for me to just be able to express a side of me that was not allowed to be expressed, and so that was the way that I found myself surviving.
You talk about growing up and joining the church and looking for affirmation from your church family. You say that you entered into another layer of hurt because of, as a black man, you felt leaders, you quote, wanted you to erase your culture and use your skin. Explain that for me.
Yeah. With every you know people group, there's a culture that comes with it, and a lot of times we love to kind of pick and choose what we want from those cultures. We may say, oh, I like the food from this particular culture, but I don't want the people. And for me, what it was kind of the opposite. It was, I want your skin because having a black person here gives off the picture of diversity,
Mm.
but your culture, some of the things about your culture, I'm not really interested in. I'll take some aspects of it, kind of cherry pick. I like this rap thing that you guys do. I like the style of dress a little bit. But some of these cultural affirmations and some of these ideas of um, racial historical things, I don't want those. Can we not have those? Can you not bring up your ancestral trials and tribulations? Let's leave that off the table.
And so you saw that actually happen as you started to talk about anti-Black racism. You saw losing 30,000 followers on social media in one day. You talk about in your new book that you showed up for a concert, only 300 people showed up. What happened and how did that impact you?
It was pretty devastating. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was devastating because I didn't have a mental kind of framework for it all. So you're thinking that you're safe in this context where we're all brothers and sisters in the Lord, and so this type of stuff doesn't happen here. And when it does happen, then you're kind of disillusioned and disoriented, kind of like, wait, what? I thought that this was one big happy family.
Mhm.
So that probably did the most damage to me. Is just messed up my kind of framework I had for faith and family initially, and then I just eventually realized, man, we all fall short, and when it says we fall
Mm.
short.
Yeah. You said you learned that race relations are more about how Black you are not than how Black you are.
Yeah, yeah, and as end of the day, you find, I find in some of my Asian friends and some of my Hispanic friends that they can kind of fly under the radar, because they're you know there's a different level of acceptance in some circles, in some senses, if they can assimilate more.
Mm.
But no matter how much a black person assimilates, you're always going to be black. You know what I mean? And so there's just always going to be an overt issue there, and that just comes from the historical context that our world exists in. where the darker skinned people were always kind of on the bottom of the totem pole due to the transatlantic slave trade. And so that's just the consistency of what we see across the world. It's unfortunate. But those are some of these constructs that we don't even realize that are established.
Healing
Yeah.
finally came when you realized that you didn't have to work for God's approval and you dealt with the trauma you had survived. How difficult was that process?
Extremely difficult. You have to be vigilant. The good part about it is, as difficult as it is that God is more faithful. And so the therapy, the having to you know, take the lid off of some historical traumas and deal with some things in your past. All of that was difficult. Having to stay consistent with your regimen and your plan and your program, journaling, all those things are difficult because you just have not created that type of rhythm for yourself. And so that's what had to happen for me. But God was very faithful to walk with me in that process.
I have to ask you this last question. What does it mean now to let go of religion and to find faith?
You know what? To let go of religion for me is now about not trying to perform in order to be accepted, either by people or by God. You don't have to follow these rules to be loved. You realize that you are loved, and so these things don't. They're not rules anymore. They are um, opportunities to demonstrate devotion, opportunities to express your love. And so now going out and feeding the people who are homeless is not something I'm doing in order to get God to love me more. It's an expression of the love that I've been given, and so I want to give it to other people.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Lecrae. Again, Grammy Award winning artist, best-selling author, Lecrae. Thank you so much for your time today. Again, be sure to download Lecrae's latest album, Restoration, and do pick up his latest book, I Am Restored, online or wherever books are sold. And you can check out our website, context.show. Thanks again, Lecrae.
Thank you. Appreciate you.